Kia ora, Wynand here from FamilyLife, and it is September, and along with the guys over at Tauranga Marriages and a bunch of other organizations across New Zealand operating in this marriage space, we are celebrating Marriage Week. Now, the only special thing about Marriage Week really is the fact that it's a week where we focus on the importance of investing in this most important relationship, your marriage. Now, obviously, that's something as an organization we do throughout the year, but this is a special week where we basically say, hey, how do we raise awareness around this thing of relationship investment, the fact that it's not a shame to input into your relationship. And look, if you're struggling, that doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It simply means that you're married. So we're all in the same boat here. And I'm delighted this morning to have Zelda from Alpha New Zealand join me. Kia ora. Good morning, Zelda.
Kia ora. Morning, Wynand. How are you?
Doing well. You know, lockdown, we are up in Auckland, still enjoying our bubbles, working from home. But I believe that you had the joys of sending the kids off to school not too long ago.
Yes, as I said to you earlier too, I sent out to my close friends a little caption that said from that song, I'm so excited I can't help it. And I love my kids dearly. And we weren't in lockdown half as long as Auckland, but it definitely was exciting to send them back.
I think you and about 10,000 or more other parents. So tell us first about you, Zelda. We happen to share the same heritage from a country perspective.
Yes, that's right. Yes, so I'm South African born and bred, been in New Zealand now for 5 years. Met my husband, Craig, on the mission field in Africa, in particular in Mozambique. We didn't date very long because we were a bit older than most getting married. And we just decided we were the right fit, and we got married, and soon after had our son Tristan, and then had a loss in between, and then had our baby girl Scarlett. And at that point, it was really we were deciding whether we were going to come to Canada or go to Canada or come to New Zealand. And Craig and I took some time out and went on a prayerful mission, should I say, to Zambia for a weekend, left the kids with the grannies, and really just seek God in the space. And so we found ourselves in New Zealand. And I joined Alpha 4 years ago. I used to be in mainstream hospitality in South Africa for 22 years. It's basically where I got my business experience, studied through them, and did a vast amount of stuff, from opening hotels to managing them to global teams in the sense of selling South Africa as a destination. So got a lot of good grounding, but I was always involved in volunteering in counseling for our church. Used to take leave to go on mission trips, and just felt that I needed to give more into community. Prayerfully said to God, for about 8 years, I think it was, I clearly wasn't ready. I clearly had a lot of work to be done on myself, but that I wanted to work for him full time. Little did I know that he would bring me all the way to New Zealand. And here I am leading Alpha New Zealand. So what a privilege it is, for sure.
Yeah, it's funny how God has a way of recruiting us from the business sector, right?
Somehow that happens.
And that's wonderful. And I'm sure you've been able to add so much value to your team and organization, and just thinking in terms of how you grow the mission and the organization that you work for. But tell us, I guess, just a brief highlight of Alpha for those of us. Now, I've heard of Alpha. Like it's one of those names that it's hard to be in the Christian circles and have not at least heard from Alpha or about Alpha. So, that's a good thing. But for those that maybe haven't heard, or for those that maybe have had some exposure, give us a brief overview of what that looks like.
So Alpha really exists for the church. We are there to equip and serve the church through the Alpha Resource, which is an evangelistic tool that really just helps people understand Christianity. It is not I like to say, Bible bashing process. It's not an impartation of you will once you've attended the course. What we try and create with our churches is a very relaxed environment where people can come to, feel welcome, and ask any question pertaining to faith. And that, I have to say, over the past 4 years, and in actual fact, since the pandemic started last year, it's been amazing to see how many other religions, people with other religions, have been coming to the Alpha course. It's
almost like an exploration of the faith, as in 100%. A non-threatening discussion is what 100%. I can hear.
Yeah. 100%. And then we cover the big questions, in the sense of why does God allow suffering and things that people really, really struggle with. Is there a God? We just recently did a campaign down in Wellington, which was awesome. A couple of different denomination churches came together and basically pulled a bit of an advertising budget, and we went onto billboards and bus shelters and main radio streams, and for many of them, and then they all aligned their alphas to start on the same date, all the churches, and they had almost a 40% uptake on people coming off the street, because what the billboards were saying was, is there more to life than this? Does God really exist? #Alpha, try Alpha. And that's just awoken me to the strategy for the future. I think what we tend to do in the church family is we internalize everything that we have, and we speak to those, the converted, which isn't necessarily wrong, but we definitely need to make it easier for us as church-going people and who have a relationship with Jesus to evangelize and to disciple to those that are out there. And I think moving forward, potentially Alpha's part in that nationally would be looking at going a little bit more mainstream in our advertising and campaigns like I've just mentioned.
Specifically around Marriage Week and the marriage course. Tell us a bit about what that is, the marriage course, and then maybe talk about, what you guys are doing. After
14 years, Alpha International decided it was time to refilm the marriage course and the pre-marriage course.
So that has been going for 14 years, but now there's some new material.
Yes, yeah. Okay. So it's the same material, it's the same presenters, and Nikki and Silla Lee.
But 4K cameras.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just made it a little bit more relevant to today's day and age, adding things like screen time and how that takes away from a relationship.
Yes.
So what we did was we've still got 23 couch couples that talk about their real life experience.
Is that like couch potatoes, or what does a couch couple mean?
Definitely not couch potatoes. Couch couples are people that have shared their testimonies with us, having gone through the marriage course, and they're from around the world, and we've handpicked them in certain instances to relate to the various episodes. So where they really found it hard and where the course really helped them, they become kind of the couch couples, and they feature right throughout, which is lovely.
For a moment there, I thought you spoke about passive couples and the whole idea, if you're passive, your relationship is either going forward or backward. But okay, not couch couples, not couch potatoes, couples who've actually experienced the power and transformation.
So what we're doing at Alpha for this month is, first of all, you'll see quite a lot going out on social media, sharing some of the conversations of these couples that we've got on in showcasing in the course. During the course, you also hear from a lot of leading experts, which we've also put on social media and sharing. John Kirkby being one, the founder of Christians Against Poverty. We've got Dr. Henry Cloud, an author and international speaker that's also on it. Dr. Sue Johnson, she's amazing. She's a psychologist. And then obviously we've got Nikki and Silla Lee, who were the creators of the course. And they the actual presenters of the course. So, so basically what we decided as Alpha was to refilm brand new videos and to make them available. There's 7 episodes in the marriage course, and there are 5 new episodes of the pre-marriage course. And this has been available since January last year.
I mean, Zelda, it's great to hear. Well, first of all, that the course has been renewed, but then also that it also has been going for such a long time. What are some of the stories? What are some of the and you don't have to mention any names, of course, but what are some of the stories that excite you about the work you do when you think about couples that have gone through your marriage course and the things they highlight?
I think for me, one stands out, and they're actually in the course, around the social media addiction that we've got going in our society and how we disconnect. We could be sitting next to each other, but yet we still disconnect 100% from the other person. And I think this is the thief of marriage, of time, of parenting, of true foundational relationship, is not being present. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a couple in the course where she was just in one of those places where she just thought he was just never really listening. Okay. Never there, would come home, would be on the device, and really just what he was again feeling and thinking, without giving too much away, but what he was thinking and feeling at the same time, in her not engaging with him. So it kind of leads off each other, and where I know if I jump online to just quickly check something, Craig thinks I've checked out, and then he jumps online and
which he would be right. You have.
And then he thinks I've checked out. Meanwhile, I'm just checking something, but I haven't verbally communicated it. So for this couple, I could really resonate in my own personal life about it as well, and the dangers in that disconnect and what that means for our marriage. Because this couple was literally standing on a scenario, on the cusp, should I say, of a breakdown, complete breakdown, divorce. And they were invited to the marriage course, and 9 times out of 10, the men go reluctantly. And why am I not surprised? You could maybe help with that side of things, but anyway, and so they go through the course, and part of the episode, some of the episodes in the marriage course is strengthening connection. Is one topic. The art of communication is another, and between those 2 sessions, they realized how broken their relationship was and how both of them played a part in this whole process.
That's good. And like, if we're not talking about these things, things are left unchecked. We always say you're either moving towards oneness in your marriage, or you're drifting towards isolation. There's no stagnation, really. You sort of wake up one day not having arrived there one day because you've drifted over time, but one day you look up and you're like, who is this person?
Yeah.
And that's such a sad reality. And we're glad to see that, there's this movement where people are inviting people, hey, come and check out the marriage course. And it's a positive framing of challenges we all face.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm such a huge advocate for what FamilyLife does, what we do in our respective space, and just absolutely kudos to the churches who embrace this, and the volunteers that take it on, and the church leadership that take on these courses, because our communities really need it. This week of marriage, well, I'm we're calling it an Alpha Marriage Month, not just the week, because we are very, very passionate about it. So on social media, you will see a whole host of resources being shared in the sense of where you can find our resources and what to expect from the couch couples and the new look and feel of the course.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys are doing that work and collecting those stories, because I know that there's hope in stories and people draw hope. So, our goal is how can we equip more people? And to me, Alpha marriages operating in that space is a win. It's a win for families. It's a win for the community. For you, Zelda, why is this marriage thing? Why is that on your heart? And what's the result that you see? You've mentioned about the kids, but what's the result that you see play out? Is just in general in the way people live their lives when marriage is, I guess, healthy and flourishing.
Well, I think, first of all, for me personally, I've come to realize in my marriage, Craig and I will never be 100% there. I think it's just humanly impossible.
We're always going somewhere, right?
We're always going somewhere, and we can definitely get there 99% of the time. Humans are we're so fickle, and especially from a Christian perspective, if you are functioning and wanting to have your marriage be what God created it to be, it would definitely be on the forefront of your mind every day. And the partner that I believe God has handpicked for me, because I'm the true runaway bride times 2. Okay, I'm revealing something here. I walked away from marriage twice before I met Craig. Purely because in my heart, I just knew, everybody around me was getting married. I was in that stage of my life, and I was just like kind of the thing to do. And we get to hear this a lot in the marriage course too, where people met as school sweethearts and kind of they're growing apart or any of those kind of things. But for Craig and I waited so long for him, and there is just no way that we are not going to make this kind of work for us. And I think it's just, as I say, we're not there every day. It is a work in progress. And I think me doing my part with the resources we have at Alpha is for other couples. It doesn't have to be a catastrophe story. Mm-hmm. I think for many couples too, coming to Alpha marriage course, some of them have said they haven't realized that their marriage is not as great as what it could be. They've just continued on this road. So I think it's so important.
You get used to that noise under the hood of your car, for example.
It's complacency. It's complete complacency around, oh, he'll always be there. Oh, she'll always be there. Oh, this and that. And that spark kind of dissolves somehow. And so we've had a lot of couples also share with us that they didn't know that they were on the brink of a big breakdown, basically. Mm-hmm. And then they go through this, and then they recommit themselves to each other and to God, especially, we make a promise in our vows to God to love and respect and to, till death do us part. Those are big promises we make. So it's part of honoring that and letting our communities know what is available to them. Yeah,
that's right. And you hit the nail on the head when you say letting the communities know what is available, because I think we resonate on that space where it's a win for us as an organization is marriages being equipped. They don't have to use FamilyLife resources to do that, but we will be here creating resources for them, and Alpha will be there running your marriage course. Whatever is going to connect will be a resource that helps you move your marriage from isolation to oneness, and hopefully from oneness to impact, which is a topic for another day. But, that to me is a clear win. So, Zelda, I want to thank you for the work that you're doing. Just before we end off our discussion, how do people connect with you, or how do they engage with a marriage course?
Okay. Just one last thought I wanted to add there too. The other reason we're doing this is obviously for pre-marriages too. So to get people, before they get to the stage of walking down the aisle, to realize what is important within their marriage too. How you can get hold of us, we are, if you're familiar with Alpha, you can pop onto our website, alpha.org.nz, and on there you will now have 2 registration portals. One will be for Alpha, for the Alpha series, the Alpha Youth series, that will give you access to all our promotional information, training, tutorials, etc. This month, we're welcoming the My Marriage platform, which will also be available on our website, where you can go in as a course leader and go and register a marriage course, whether it's a pre-marriage or marriage course. Mm-hmm. And later on will be our parenting as well, parenting courses. And you can go and register there, and you can get all the accesses you need to the material, the downloads of the video links, scripts, absolutely everything will be there, how to promote the course. What happens at that point of you registering, which is so important for us, it comes through to each of the regional coordinators, and they can make contact with you then and give you a call. If you do get stuck, you can just, in the time of lockdowns now, you can leave a message on our voice message and we'll get back to you at 09525 and 3139, and we will make sure we get in contact with you.
In terms of as an individual wanting to access that, what I hear is the way to do that is through your local course or leader that is presenting that. And do you want to just speak briefly as to...
So what we're going to be having on our site as well is where you've got Find an Alpha. We've got a little click box that you go find an alpha, and if you're an individual looking for an alpha, you can go onto that and put in your area, and you will see all the alphas that come up in your region and decide where you want to go and attend. The same will be happening for My Marriage. A little click box will come up. You're looking for a marriage course in your area, and everybody who's registered their courses, they will then be featured there, and you can decide where to go. It is very important for us that individuals off the street don't just access the materials and run it for themselves. We want to surround you by a secure community that can help and support you as you go along on this journey. And that's why we say, we are for the church, by the church, and we serve the church and equip the church so that they can run it within their communities. Yeah. So one of the questions as you register a marriage course or any of our resources will be, do you belong to a church? And that becomes very important to us so that we can do the correct follow-up and ensure people are linked in.
And I love that, because you're not just popping a course online and say, here you go, sit at home on the couch and have the same fights you always have when this topic comes up as a couple. But you're saying, hey, here's a course running at this community, go and check it out. And by doing that, you're surrounding yourself by with people that can.
And it is being facilitated safely and securely. I mean, Craig and I last lockdown ran a marriage course for our close friends. And as much as we did it online, and as much as we switched off the sound and you didn't hear the conversations, but the questions came back once we opened the platform, and then we could really engage and support and encourage and facilitate conversation between the couples.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Zelda, thank you for sharing, and thank you for joining us on this mission of, helping marriages go the distance and transform, and for keeping Christ at the center of that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Wynand, and all the best to you guys too.